Now, what will be the output of this code? So I have three variables PQR with three values 10, 20, and 3, and there is a variable yes, another variable. Okay, so then I have a statement s is equal to p less than q less than r. Then if I print yes, what is printed? 510 or error. What is printed on the screen? Yeah, any guess? No idea, right? So here what happens? First, this statement is evaluated here. Okay, so p less than q. Okay, so this is a relational expression. It evaluates to either true or false here. Okay, so what is p value here? 10. 10 less than 20. 10 less than 20. Yes, true. Okay, so this becomes a true here. This becomes true here. That is nothing but true will be treated internally as a 1 here. Okay, so then this 1 is less than r. 1 is less than r. Okay, so what is r value? 3 here. Okay, so 1 less than r. Yes, again true. Okay, so that means this entire expression evaluates to true, and that will be assigned to yes, which is nothing but true is assigned as a the value 1. So yes contains the value 1, and when you print yes, 1 will be printed on the screen. Option B is a correct one. Okay, say Sagar said correct. Next, what is the output of this piece of code? Just see here. Say printf hello world plus 5. Printf hello world, comma, plus 5 if you say. Okay, so the meaning of this is correct. There is no error. Okay, so this is absolutely a valid statement in C language. Okay, so the meaning of this is nothing but move or print after 5 characters onwards. Okay, move away 5 characters and print from there onwards. That is the meaning of this one. Okay, so move away five characters. Okay, so that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that means you cut up to this character, and from 6th character onwards. Okay, so after 5th one, there is W here. So from here onwards, you print everything. You print everything. Okay, so what is printed here? World will be printed. Option B is correct here. Okay, it doesn't mean that only 5th character you print. No, print from a 5th character onwards. In other ways, if you want to see, if you consider the index as 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so from 5th index onwards, you go on print. Okay, so world will be printed on the screen. Okay, right. And it is not also only the first 5 characters. Please remember, print only the first 5 characters. No, that is not the way the compiler interprets this statement. Okay, so it is interpreted as leave first 5 characters and print from next character onwards. That is the meaning of this one. That's why you can see world printed on the screen. Okay, right? So B is correct option, correct. Yeah, so there are 3 statements here. Now, what is the output of this code? Say printf E, then printf. These are related to escape sequences. These are all related to escape sequences. Sometimes even on escape sequences, a question may appear. Okay, now we execute printf statements one by one, and what happens we'll see here. Okay, so first printf will print a HE on the screen. Okay, so it prints HE on the screen. Then after printing, cursor will be waiting here. Okay, so cursor will be waiting here. Okay, because there is no new line character, immediately the cursor will be waiting here. Okay, so then next printf proceeds from this character onwards here. Okay, right. So then printf /b indicates backspace. /b indicates backspace. Okay, so that means move cursor one position to backspace. Okay, so that means one backspace, it comes here. Okay, so your cursor comes to this space, comes to E here. Okay, so from there onwards it prints a Fi. Okay, so that means Fi, E is overwritten by capital F, and here I will be printed here, small I will be printed here. Okay, so HFI will be printed, and /A indicates bell. After printing this, a bell will be ringing there. Okay, so this is nothing to do with output here. Then printf R /R. Okay, so /R indicates, see, after this the cursor will be waiting here. Okay, so /R indicates carriage return. Carriage return means directly the cursor comes to the first position. The cursor comes to the first position here. Okay, so directly it comes to the first position where H is the letter here. Okay, so from then onwards, then it prints the letter string HA will be printed here. Okay, so that means HA will be printed here. Capital H will be overwritten by small h, and capital F will be overwritten by small a here. Only two letters are there. Okay, so the first two letters will be overwritten here. Okay, and if you look at the output here on the screen, you can see I printed. You can observe HA and I. HA will be printed on the screen. Okay, and please remember /A indicates bell here. Bell. Okay, so if you execute this program, you will get a bell sound. You will get a bell sound. Okay, that means after second printf, you will get a bell sound. Okay, so it is nothing to do with the output on the screen. You will get a bell sound. /A means bell sound. /R means carriage return. Carriage return indicates what? Come to the first position. /B indicates backspace. Only move one position back. That is the meaning of this /B. Backspace. One position move towards the backside. Okay, right. Now, what will be the output of the following program? See, fill in the blanks, fill up the blanks type of question. Sometimes you will be given a text box. Okay, so in the text box, you need to type your answer. Exactly whatever is coming out from your program or this program, you have to type in the same manner, capital letters, lowercase, in matching. Okay, in the same manner, you should print. Even extra full stop or comma, if you print, then your answer will be taken as wrong. Okay, so sometimes you should be very careful. It may not be always MCQs type of questions. Okay, so there may be some fill in the blanks type of questions where you need to type the answer. Okay, so let us look at this here. Now we have main x is equal to 1.1 float type, double y is equal to 1.1. Then I am comparing here. If x is equal to y, printf true, otherwise printf false. So what will be printed here? What output you are expecting from this, and you should type the same thing in the text box. When you should be very careful about these questions, whether it is MCQs or fill in the blanks type. Accordingly, you should type your answer if it is fill in the blanks type. Okay, so what is the answer for this? Now x is a floating point type and y is a double precision type. Both are assigned with value 1.1. Then I am checking x is equals to y. Okay, so here what happens? This floating point type will have a different precision and double point will have a different precision. Okay, so internally when this 1.1 is stored, it will be stored with a 6 up to 6 decimal places, and this will be stored up to 14 decimal places. Okay, and when you compare these two, obviously they are not equal. Obviously they are not a same here. Okay, so then the condition becomes false here. Okay, so that's why control goes to else spot and it prints false, and you should type a false here in your text box. Okay, so whatever text box is given there, you need to type the answer correctly. Okay, so even if you put any extra like this, you need to type. Okay, so you should be very careful while typing. By mistake, if you put some dot or a semicolon, okay, so then this will be treated as a wrong answer. You should be very careful. Okay, no extra character should be typed in such a text boxes. Okay, right. True or no true? Sagar, this is false. Okay, so even though the values assigned looks the same here, but internally these values are stored in a memory of x and memory of y. And when you say x is equal to y, okay, so it goes to that memory location of x and memory location of y. Okay, and inside the memory of x and inside the memory of y, these values are different because both are different precision. Okay, so that's why they are not equal here. The condition becomes false. That's why it comes to this else spot here. Okay, so we'll get false here. Be careful about these floating point type of values. Okay. No, 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 no. Float is internally stored. See here. If you take a number, okay, that number by default, it will be treated as double value. Okay, but when you declare a variable as float, it will be stored as only floating point up to 6 decimal places only. And you are saying y is a double point, double type. Okay, so then it will have double precision. That means up to 14 decimal places it stores. Okay, so internal memory, inside the memory, they are stored in a different ways. And you are comparing 6 decimal places with 14 decimal places. Obviously, they are not equal. Okay, so that's why you get a condition false here and goes to else, and answer will be false here. Okay, right. Yes, what is this value? What is the output of this program? Float x is equal to 3.2, and I'm printing x using percentage %d, and I'm also printing x using percentage %.1f x. Okay, so what is printed? 3, 3.2. Here after percentage %d, there is a comma. So that's why on the output also comma will be printed. You should be very careful. Okay. Option A. Option A. Okay, so B is 3.0, 3.2, C is junk value, 3.2, D is error. Okay, now see here, when you consider a float and integer data types. Okay, so float is considered to be the largest data type than integer. Integer is smaller. Okay, so integer is smaller compared to floating point type. Okay, so what you are doing is you are trying to print a float value with a percentage %d. Trying to print a float value with a percentage %d. Okay, so when you print a float with a percentage %d, what happened? Information will be lost here. Okay, that means a bigger value you are trying to insert into a smaller one. A bigger value you are trying to insert into a smaller one. It is just like this. It is just like this. Assume you have a large box and you have a small box here. You have a small box here. you are trying to insert this large box into this small box. What happens? Only some part of this box will fit into this. Some part of this box will fit into this. Yes or no? Okay. Then remaining part will be lost here. Remaining part will be lost here. Same is the case here. Okay. So you are trying to store a bigger number representation into a smaller number representation. Okay. So what happens? Some bits will be lost here. Only some bits will present or some bits will be occupying this small box here. That's why information loss will be there. When there is an information loss, when you print using %d, it prints a junk value. Okay, floating point number, if you print with the %d format, that means bigger one. If you try to print with a smaller, then information loss will be there, and then X value, when you print, it prints a junk value. It prints a junk value, some unknown big number it prints. Okay, and the second printf %1.lf printing up to only 1 decimal point. So 3.2 will be printed here with the second printf. So option C is correct here. Okay, please remember here. When you try to print floating with %d, junk value will be printed because you are trying to print a bigger bit pattern using a small bit pattern like this. Okay, so information loss will happen. That's why. Clear? Right. When you assign, no problem. If you assign a floating point number to an integer, the decimal part will be truncated, only integer part will be assigned. That is fine. Okay. But when you try to print, this is the problem. Okay. So you will get a junk value. That means it tries to print only some part of this one. Only some part of this one, which is a invalid bit pattern. That's why you'll get some junk value here. What will be the output of this code? Just see here. Yes, quickly. Yes, I am not getting any responses. CRB confused. Don't get confused here. When everything syntax is correct, there is no compile time error. Okay. So then you need to evaluate this statement clearly. Okay. Now see int k is equal to 0. Correct. If k is equal to 0, printf hello, else printf hi. There is no syntax error. That means there is no compile time error. Okay. Now, if you observe this statement, we are habituated to write double equal to here. Okay. So suddenly, if you look at, if you come across with single equal to, then you may be in confusion that compiler will not accept this kind of expression, and you may get a compile time error. That is how we think. That is how we think here. Okay. But this is absolutely right. Internally, what happens? It is an assignment statement. So what happens? The value will be assigned to k here. So what is the value? 0. 0 will be assigned to k. Okay. Now k contains what? 0. If 0, that is the meaning. Okay. If 0, 0 indicates what? False. That means the condition becomes false here. Control comes to else part here. Control comes to else part here. Then it prints hi here. So answer B is correct. Had it been double equal to, okay. So if you have used whether k is equal to 0, P is equal to 0. Okay, so if there is a double equal to, then hello will be printed. Okay, so this won't give any error. This is correct one. Please remember. Okay. Now, what will be the output of this code? This I already told about this shorthand operators. Yeah, quickly give your answer. Answer A, Sagar. Avinash B. A, Shashikant also A. Okay, so let us look at this. Now I told shorthand assignment operator or even assignment operator has the least priority. Okay, all other operators will be executed or evaluated first. Okay, so that means first A plus B will be evaluated. So what is A value? 4. What is B value? 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. Okay, so this value on the right hand side will become 6 here. Then A star is equal to 6. A star is equal to 6 is nothing but A is equal to A multiplied by 6 here. A is equal to A star 6. Okay. So what is A value here? A value is 4 here. So 4 into 6. 4 into 6 is 24. 24 will be stored in A. And when you print A, option B is correct. Okay. So first, other operators, these shorthand assignment operators will have least priority. They are evaluated at the end. So this is calculated first. 4 into 6, 24 is the correct answer. Yeah, this one. Pre-order traversal of tree is 17, 13, 9, 11, 15, 19, 23, 21. That means if a tree is a traverse using pre-order, this is the node pattern we got. Okay. What will be the post-order traversal for this tree? What will be the post-order traversal for this tree? Okay. So we discussed in-order, pre-order and post-order traversal. Okay. So how to get answer for this type of questions? Okay, now if you look at this question, when such kind of question is given, pre-order traversal or post-order traversal, okay, only one traversal is given, you should assume that it is a binary search tree. You should assume that it is a binary search tree, BST, binary search tree. Okay, what is the property of binary search tree? All the elements to the left of root are less than less than the root, and all the elements to the right are greater than or equal to the root element. This is the property of binary search tree. Okay, so if you traverse using pre-order traversal, this is the node pattern. Now using that, you can get this tree. Once you get the tree, then you can find its post-order traversal. And another thing is, in pre-order traversal, it is known that the first element is the root, because pre-order traversal, what is the algorithm or policy of pre-order traversal? Root, left, right. This is the policy. Yes or no? Root, left and right. Okay, so that's why the first element will become the root of the tree. Okay, so now you can get the tree like this. 17 now will become the root here. Okay, then now you can just check out here. If 17 is root, all the elements less than the 17 will become the left subtree. Okay, they will be in the left subtree. Okay, so that means all these elements will be in the left subtree. Okay, so 13, 9, now 13, 9, 11, then 15. Okay, so they are in the left subtree, and all the elements greater than the 17 will be in the right subtree. Okay, so this forms the right subtree. 19, okay, 23, then 21. Okay, so these forms the right subtree. Like this, you will get the first tree pattern here. Okay, again, apply the same concept for the left subtree here. Okay, so 13 will become the again node here. Okay, so then all the elements less than 13 will be in the left subtree and greater will be in the right subtree. So that means 9 and 11 will be in the left of 13 and 15 will be right side. Okay, so if I erase this and draw accordingly, now just yes, okay. Right. Now see here. Okay, so 13 will become the next node here, left child of 17. Okay, so then this will be the left child here. Okay, so then 9 and 11 will come in the left subtree. Okay, 9 and 11 will come in the left subtree. Again, you can check out 9 will be the left child here. Okay, so 9 and 11 will come here. Now you can just draw the tree using the concept here. Okay, so 9 and 11 will be in the left subtree. Again, in this two, 9 will be the next node. 9 will be the next node, and 11 will become the right child of 11 will become the right child of this 9. Right child of this 9. Okay, so then 15 will become the right child of 13. 15 will become the right child of 13. Okay, now see here, all these 13, 9, 11, 15, they are in the left side of 17. Yes, now coming to right side, you have these three. Okay, so now again you can, I'm just closing this here, then again we'll start here. 19 will become the root node here. Okay, so 19 will become the root node here, and since 21 and 23 both are greater, both will come in the right subtree only. Okay, so then 23 will become the next node. 23 will become the next node. Okay, then 21 will become the left child of this 23. Okay, so 21 will become the left child of this 23. Now this is the tree pattern, and if you traverse this tree using post order, then you can just left to right route in that pattern, or post order. What is the shortcut? Go on picking out a left child. Go on picking out a left leaf nodes, left subtree leaf nodes. Okay, now if you come to left side, 11 will be the first node taken out. Okay, so then next 9 will be the left. Okay, that will be taken out. Okay, so that means 11 and 9. That means these two, C or D. Okay, so that means A and B are violated, ruled out. Okay, 11, 9. Then comes a 15. This is the leaf node, no? 15. So 11, 9, 15. Both again, both are same here up to now. This. Okay, so then if you remove all these, then this 13 will be the left child. Okay, so then remove this 13 also. Okay, so 11, 9, 15, 13 means this is the D is the correct option. Okay, now you apply the same thing here. Okay, so go on removing a left child's first year. So left subtree over, then go to right side. Left child 21 you remove. Next 21, then remove this leaf 23, then remove 19, finally remove 17. Now option D is the correct one. That's how you can find out a post order travel set. One question of this kind will be asked. Okay, clear? Right. Now consider the following array. There are some elements in the array. These are inserted into a max heap one by one. The resultant max heap will be Okay, how the resultant max heap will be. Okay, so you need to draw the max heap diagram. Okay, so what is max heap here? Max heap and min heap. If you know heap concept here. Okay, so in heap, what you need to do is whenever you assign a value, first you should fill the left child. Afterwards, you should fill the right child. Afterwards, you should fill the right child. After filling these two, again, you can start from the left child. Again, first fill the left child. Again, fill the right child. Again, fill the right child. Okay. So like this, for each node in the each level, you have to fill the values. You have to add the values to this heap. This is called a heap. This is called a heap. Okay. So max heap means you have to start that means always the root should contain the maximum number than their child nodes. Okay, so max heap, what is the property of max heap? The root node should contain the maximum value than their child nodes, all the child nodes, not only this. Okay, so this value should be greater than all the child nodes. Okay, so using these two properties, if you construct a max heap, that will be the diagram you will get here. Okay, so let us quickly see here. 55 I will take here. 55 I will take here. This is the first node. I'm taking it as a root node. Okay, so then first you need to assign left child. 40 I have assigned, which is less than the root. Okay, no problem. Which is less than the root, no problem. Okay, I can assign. Then next 45. 45 is also less than. So then I assign it as a right child here. Assign it as a right child here. Okay, over. Then next I take 48 here. Okay, so 48 I have to assign as a left child of 40 here. Okay, but here this 48 is greater than its parent. 48 is greater than its parent. Okay, so when such condition arises, what you need to do? You need to interchange the parent and the child here. Okay, that means 48 should go here and 40 should come here. This is called heapifying. This is called as heapifying. Okay, so you need to heapify operation you need to perform. Interchange these two nodes here. Okay, so if you interchange these two nodes here, okay, then okay, so then 40 will come here. Okay, then 48 will go here. 48 will go here. Okay, so now you can see here 40 is less than this root parent here. Okay, so parent should be the greatest one than the child ones. Then take next to 10. 10 okay, so let me remove this also. Right. Now 10 I should assign as a right child, which is less than 48, no problem. I can assign as a right child of 48. Okay, so then 46. Okay, so again 46 if I assign, then which is greater than this one. So that means I need to interchange. That means 46 will come here. 46 will come here. Okay, then 45 will come as a left child of this one. 45 will come here. Okay, so then next 15 will be the right child of this 46. Okay, so 15 will come here. Now this is the max heap structure you will get. Okay, so actually I have not included options. These kind of tree structures will be given in the options, and you have to select the appropriate tree here. Okay, so this is called the max heap. What are the properties of max heap? The root should be greater than all the child nodes. Please remember. This condition is applied at every node. Okay, then whenever we insert elements into the heap, okay, so first left child is inserted, then the right child is inserted. Okay, so if you remember these two, then you can construct the max heap. Okay, right, we have one question. Yeah. Now there is some logical kind of questions will be asked sometimes. Okay, just see here. Trisha wants to implement an image viewer application to view images in a given folder. Okay, so she wants to develop an image viewer application, okay, to view the images in a folder. The application will be able to display an image and will also know what is its next and previous images are at any given point of time, so that the user can view next or previous image by pressing right or left keys on the keyboard. Which data structure is appropriate for Trisha to use? Tree, queue, linked list, or stacks? Okay, so that means at any point of time, he should able to access, the user should able to access the next image or the previous image. Okay, that means the current image will have link to previous image and will have link to next image. Okay, so which data structure is appropriate for such kind? Yes, C. Okay, so exactly. So linked list will be used to implement such kind of operations here. Okay, so in doubly linked list, especially this is doubly linked list, we have two pointers, previous pointer and next pointer. Okay, so like this, if you implement, assume this is the current image. Okay, so this is the current image. IMG, I am just writing here. Okay, so this is called a previous pointer. This is called a previous pointer, and this is called the next pointer. This is called the next pointer. This points to previous image. Like this, each image will be implemented as a double linked list node here, like this. Okay, and this points to next image. So whenever the user clicks a next right key, left key, then these pointers will be activated and it goes to either previous image or a next image. Okay, so option C is the correct one. Option C is the correct one. Okay, so we'll stop here. We'll stop here. And tomorrow we'll work out some programming questions. Okay, especially we'll work out previous TCS Ninja questions. We'll try to solve coding questions. We'll solve. Okay, so thank you one and all. We'll stop here.